guys, Pat here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. Well, tomorrow is chicken processing day, so some friends of ours have invited us out to process some chickens. So we got a chicken plucker, and my last video I believe I showed the retaining cone for the process. And what I'm going to do is build a stand for it now. I'm looking around the shop at some stuff I've collected over the years and some different things that I refuse to throw away. I finally found a use for some of this stuff. Let me take you over there and I'll show you what I got planned. So here is the results of the chicken cone, or retaining cone, or butchering cone. It turned out pretty solid, so I want to make a stand for it. So what I got going on, over on the ground I have a chunk of, I think it's 3.5 inch inside diameter pipe, ID of 3 inches, and looks to me like a 1/4 inch wall, aluminum pipe. I believe I got that at a dump at some point. On the far end there's a 2-inch piece of pipe that was welded on. I don't know what that was for, but I'll take that off, and on the very end is welded on. So I'm going to use that end. I'm going to bore a hole in that and thread it, because down here at my feet is a old swivel stool. I picked this up from the dump too, with an idea of making a portable off-roller for like table saws and such. So the plan is to tap this, thread it, because this is a 1/4 inch. That's plenty. I can put this bolt in here. While I'm preparing everything, what I'll do is I'm going to take some muriatic acid. This is all rusty. I'm going to go ahead and paint this with muriatic acid, let it sit, do a few rinsings to clean this up, and I'll throw some paint on this to preserve it a little bit. I have a couple of screws that I'll use to mount the cone onto the pole, and a tap. I'll just go ahead and tap the aluminum post and just thread these on here to where I don't have any fasteners on the back. So just take a cheap sash brush, pour some muriatic acid on in here, and just paint it on. You can just see that muriatic acid just eating and dissolving that old rust. Pretty cool stuff. That saves a lot on sanding. Not that you can't rough it up a little bit if need be. This looks like it's still paint on here, so it very well might be apropos to just take a little piece of sandpaper and just hand sand it. Now, obviously be careful not to get this in your eyes. Wear your safety glasses, etc., etc. Rubber gloves, wear your rubber gloves. Wear your eye protection, ear protection, mouth protection, skin protection. Make sure you're sitting in the car seat. Yeah, we just let that sit on there, do its thing, dissolve that rust. And while that's doing that's work, I'm going to go ahead and cut off that pipe. Well, we got Cody out here inspecting the work. How's it look, buddy? And we'll see if we can find an approximate center on this. It's kind of rough. Every few minutes we come back and put a a little more of this muriatic acid on here. Let it soak and do its thing. Oh, and I forgot to tell you to also wear your seatbelt when you're doing this with all your PPE. Make sure you're safe. It really is a good idea to be wearing safety glasses and gloves with this stuff. It is an acid, and a very strong acid. Throw this down next to it as a example of what's going on. You can really see the bare metal showing up here. Alright, we'll go here and tap this. That bolt really didn't have to be that big, but it's a good stiff post in between this and the stand. So I thought, well, we'll go ahead and give that a try. See how that works out. At any rate, I'll leave that in there so I don't lose it. Hey guys, day 2. I painted all the components last night. The cone, the stand, and the base. So I'm going to go ahead and install that today. See if it all goes together well. And we'll put a little anti-seize on there to keep it from the aluminum from galling. It doesn't make the best threaded piece. Okay, so the other thing that I didn't mention, and I was wanting to kind of put this on here just to see how it looked first, is to build a little standoff in here so the heads will stick out here a little bit further and not so close up next to the pole. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to cut a taper that's 2 inches on the wide end, 12 inches long, 2 inches wide on the wide side, and taper to 0 on the top. Okay, so what we came up with is a taper, a wooden taper, and as you can see, this is a 90-degree angle right here. And so when I went to drill this hole, which is going to be the hole down here on this part of the post to keep this stable and to keep this square and keep it from working out, I set this up on a drill press to drill straight down, so that would just still be 90-degree hole to the part facing the post. So with that said, I also drilled a hole up here to hold the top end to go into the already pre-fashioned hole for the top of the cone. So I line this up. Some of you guys may or may not know how to do this. In order to line this up I took this screw out and I pre-drilled this top hole. I didn't take any measurements on it. It's about 1/2 inch to center. So it captures this screw on the top side. And so what I did is I lined this up and tightened this screw down. Had this one just a little bit loose so I can move the cone around a little bit. And I got it kind of close to center. It's not exact right in here, but kind of lined the cone up. Found a bolt in my spare bolts bin. It's like 2 1/8 inches long. So then I determined, okay, I can put that right about in here and still be comfortable with being able to put a fastener or a screwdriver, a short screwdriver in here, and be able to tighten this up, because what I'll do is I'll thread this pipe just like I did on these top 2 bolts, and then but I wanted to go down and determine just how far down I could go and still be able to penetrate the post, but also still be able to work a screwdriver inside the cone. So once I made that determination, I made a mark inside the cone in between a couple of the rivets, and you can see the hole right here. At that point, I removed this again, loosened this one, and rotated the cone around, and then I drilled a hole on the back side of the cone in between 2 of those rivets. So right here is the hole in between the 2 rivets, and after I did that, I went ahead and reinstalled this, because this hole was not in there yet. I lined this up again. This is how you get the holes exactly right, so they don't get off center. It's kind of a timely process, but kind of a necessary process if you want to line your holes up just right. And line that all back up, put it back together again, tighten these holes so the mark that I make on here is going to be real in relationship to this being tied up against the post. So I kind of lined my wooden shim up again. This is not going to move around because it's got these 2 screws holding it. Then I went inside the cone, pushed the cone up next to the wooden shim, and drew a hole on the shim, on the wooden shim. Through this hole I drilled. Now that I have that marked on that wood, I know exactly how far down that shim to go. So now all I have to do is loosen this up again, and remove the shim, and then my mark would be somewhere within this particular area. So let's say I didn't have this thing lined up perfectly square, but I had my line or my mark right here. Well, all I have to do is just measure to center. I could use a square, and anywhere on this line I can put a hole. So I selected the center of this distance and drill a hole 90 degrees to where the bolt is going to slide in, 90 degrees to the post. So now when that goes through the post, it's actually going to be 90 degrees to the post. Now that I have my hole drilled, I go back up in here, put the screw back in, and I don't put those in tight, but now that I have the hole drilled through the shim on the bottom side, The hole in the shim is centered, so now all I have to do is line up the screw with this hole and the hole in the shim, or the standoff, what do you want to call it. Then I went through, in order to mark where on the post I need to drill, then I tapped this to mark the post, and I tapped it several times, rotated it several times. These two screws here are making this square up and down. The shim on the back is directly centered to these two screws up here, and I tap on the inside on this screw right here to mark on the post where I want that hole to be drilled. I haven't done that yet. Then I'm going to remove this, remove these two screws, or at least one of them. I don't have to remove both of them, but I think for ease of operation I'm going to go ahead and take that off there so this is out of my way. Right here you can see the mark, and that's exactly where that bolt needs to be on the post. So I go through and I have my tap all set up to the right thread size, and I just go through with my drill. Now it'd be wise if I took a punch and punch that. But aluminum, you can kind of press hard against that hole and get it really close. So now I'm trying to go perpendicular to the pipe, square and plumb, however you want to say it. Okay, now it's time to assemble. I did throw a little paint on that wedge off camera. I'm just going to put everything on there loosely to start with. And it's been years since I've used a flathead short screwdriver. This could actually have been a little bit shorter, but this way I can have enough room to get the screwdriver in there. Aluminum and stainless steel are notorious for galling, so I went ahead and put some anti-seize on the threads of the screws. Okay, this looks pretty sturdy. This isn't going anywhere. So you set your bucket up underneath this, and this will catch all your heads and all the blood that's going to pour out of it. Well, anyways, I hope it works. That's just made out of junk I had laying around the house here. If you guys are looking to build something like this, maybe this will give you some ideas on what to do, what not to do. Anyways, thanks for stopping by. Take care, and God bless.